So, I don't know if you had a chance to read the description or anything about class today. I'm calling class today Surya Mamaskar. Now, if you've heard of Surya Mamaskar, you probably are wondering why I'm changing it to Mamaskar. It's just a little bit of a joke. This is not a prenatal class, or it's not only for people who are mothers, but I have a lot of people who come to me and ask about Surya Mamaskar and why is it so hard to do. So in yoga lore, who knows if this is true or not, but supposedly Surya Mamaskar, or sun salutation, was created as a way for young men to warm up before they would go out into the fields and do hard labor all day long. So if you're a 50-year-old woman, is it really appropriate for you to be doing the same thing that the 18-year-old guy is doing in the morning? Probably not. Everyone's different. If you've been doing it for a long time and you want to rock out those super hard sun salutations, that's awesome. But since so many people have asked me how they can modify safely, still make it challenging, still make it worthwhile as something to do, which it totally is, that I've decided to come up with a version of sun salutation that is for everybody. So that's what today's class is all about. And it's not necessarily going to be easy because we are going to be moving. We're going to be holding poses maybe a little bit longer. We're going to be working. So it's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's not going to have a lot of those difficult, challenging parts that give people trouble. So if you've taken any of my other YouTube classes, it'll be a little bit different in that the poses will be repeated some, a little more than usual, and mostly just really basic poses. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll be explaining more along the way as we go. You don't need a lot of prompts for today. If you usually use blocks or something similar, you can always have them handy, and we might be using them later, but I don't have any big plans for blocks. You're going to start lying down on your back just for a moment, and then we're going to go onto the side. First is lying down on the back, taking a few moments to hug the knees in. Close the eyes and start off with a few breaths. Just letting go of all those worries of maybe you had a hard time with YouTube earlier. Now it's time to just sigh it all away. Then we're going to start doing a few things lying on the side. So come to lie on your right side and lengthen out. You're going to come all the way down. So the right arm is out on the floor. Legs are straight. And at first they're just stacked on top of each other. We're going to take the top leg and just put it a little bit behind. Okay, so the toes of the top foot are touching the heel of the bottom foot. Okay, so they're not separating. Take your top arm and reach up overhead. The bottom hand can come up and grab that wrist and just encourage that arm to lengthen away. Take a few more breaths. Start to point the top foot and point it back behind you, just a few inches behind the bottom foot. The bottom foot stays flexed. So you're just starting to open up along that top side of the body. And this bottom side of your body, your right side, try to make as much contact with the floor as that side as possible. But notice, of course, if it doesn't, it might just be due to the shape of your rib cage, your hips, whatever. So if something rises up away from the floor a little bit, no big deal. You're just trying to keep it down and lengthen the left side as much as possible. Good. Now, the top arm is going to come down alongside you. Start to reach that back foot further back. So it's just starting to angle away behind you. Only go as far as you can without really starting to arch the back. It might make you feel like arching the back a little bit when that leg goes back. So just stop before you do any arching. The bottom hand comes down to the floor, palm down. This top arm, the palm is facing down towards you, and you're just reaching back. Almost like the two limbs reaching back, your arm and your leg reaching back, or like two parts of a wing just going together. Even though they're not touching, they're kind of at the same angle, reaching back behind you. This top shoulder is moving down away from your ear on that side. And just reaching, reaching, reaching back. Take a breath, and then bring your hand in front. And the top leg comes in front. Bend the knee, put the top knee down on the floor in front of you. We're just going to go into a supine twist upside down. So we're facing towards the ceiling and just turning back. This knee can, it might toggle up off the floor. You can even kind of rock it back and forth a little bit if that feels good. And take a couple breaths there. Good. Come back onto your side, and then we're going to flip all the way around onto the other side. So you'll be on your left side. And again, I'm going to stretch everything out nice and straight, long body position. The top leg just goes a little bit behind at first. So the feet are flexed at first, and your top leg is just slightly behind, toes touching the heel of the front leg, the bottom leg. Top arm reaches up and over. Your plant is in the way. You just get a little bit out of the way. Still in the way. That's okay. The bottom hand comes up to grab the top wrist. And again, you're just lengthening away. Now start to point the toes of that top leg, and then maybe just like 4 or 5 inches starting to point behind. And just lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Bottom foot is flexed, so the outer edge of that foot is propping you up a little bit on your side. Lengthening the right side of the body without just doing it by lifting the left side away from the floor. That's why you want to keep the left side kind of anchored down just so you feel the lengthening happening without side bending. Bottom hand comes down, palm down. Top arm starts to go back behind you. The top leg also starts to angle back behind you as well. So the arm leg stays straight. And just like the wing, it's like there are 2 parts of one wing, sort of just reaching back behind you, still reaching nice and long away from you. And the top shoulder, make sure it's staying down away from the ear, not hunching up towards the ear. Just reaching away. Bring that top hand in front of you, and then bend the top leg and place that knee down in front of you. We'll go into our twist from here. And just maybe rocking back and forth. This knee comes down, this shoulder comes down. Just a few breaths like that. And then we're going to come up onto hands and knees. So you can just roll onto your front and come up onto your hands and knees. Now, I like to have a little bit of padding under my knees. If you have a blanket or something that you want to use for that same purpose, you just can grab that. And I'm just going to be angled slightly away to the side. I'm just going to fix my hair quickly. So that way I'm mostly facing towards the camera, but at a little bit of an angle so you can see what I'm doing as we start to move. First, we're just doing a regular cow and cat. Okay, so come to your tabletop, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and inhale for your cow, exhale, cat. And continue a few more times, just with the breath, inhaling and exhaling. We're now trying to keep the breath flowing in and out through the nose and moving with the breath. I'm going to flip over my notes just in case. Okay, after a couple more, just go ahead and reach the hips back towards your heels for child's pose. There we go. Taking a couple breaths there. And then come back up to your tabletop. I'm going to do a couple moments with some wrist stretches. So a lot of people with starting a yoga practice or working up to doing sun salutation start to have trouble with their wrists because we're not always used to putting so much weight there. So I'm going to do a couple of wrist stretches and some strengthening also for the hands. So this should help you a lot. First thing we're going to do is a little bit tricky, so you have to pay attention and go slowly. If it's a lot of weight on the wrist, you can always bring your body weight a little bit back, like so. You don't have to be completely shoulders over wrists. So I'm going to demonstrate maybe just a tiny bit back. For now, think of your fingers staying down on the floor to the knuckle, and you're just lifting the heel of the palm up and down. So just try that a few times. Inhale and exhale down. So notice I'm not lifting my hand like this, and I'm not, I'm not lifting the whole finger off the floor. The fingers stay down. You're just lifting the palm heel. Now the thumb, the root of the thumb might lift up off the floor a little bit when you do this. That's okay. So you're just lifting like this. Okay, so it should feel like a lot of work. All right, should feel like you're starting to fatigue the hands a little bit just doing that much. This is a strengthener for the wrists. It's going to help you do a lot more on your hands. So, like I said, you can always take a little weight off by sitting back and trying it that way first, much lighter here, and then starting to add a little more weight by moving the shoulders forward. And then the most, difficult point would be to have your hands completely forward and do that a few times. All right, so that's enough of that. That's something you can do on your own a lot. It's going to really help your wrists. Now we're just going to stretch the wrist. So this is something you have to figure out for yourself. What is your range of motion? You're going to start by turning one hand out to the side. So the thumb goes out to the side, the fingers start to face back towards you. So the inner arm starts to face forward. And then you see if you can put the heel of the hand down. It's safer to do one hand at a time. So we're just going to do one hand at a time for today. Now you might feel like as you start to turn the hand out, you can only get part of the way around. You can't get the fingers to point all the way back. No problem. You're just going to do your stretch there. Just take a couple breaths and start to feel this stretch happening in the inner arm. If you have the hand all the way back, to intensify the stretch, again, you make your body weight go a little bit back. Okay? Like when I start to do that here, I'm actually peeling up off the floor here immediately because that's pretty much as far as I can go. So just try that and then bring that hand around and try with the other hand. Just stretching out the inner forearm. And a couple breaths there. You can't get all the way around, so the fingers are going back. Maybe they're going out to the side a little bit. You can just do your stretch there. It's totally worthwhile. And take a couple more breaths there. And then finally, we're going to do a little stretch the opposite way. So we're stretching a lot this way, which is really good for our hands, especially if you do like a lot of typing on the computer, anything like that. You can even stretch each finger individually. I'm not going to go through all that because it takes up so much time, but you can do that, after working on the computer for a long time. Each finger. Now we're going to stretch the other way though. What we're going to do now is bring the fists together. You don't have to have a tight fist, but the knuckles are going together. So if you're giving yourself a little fist bump, and then put the backs of the hands down on the floor. So when you start off, the elbows are bent quite a lot. You're going to try to keep this first length of the finger from your knuckle to the first joint of the finger. You're trying to keep that together, the hands touching each other there. And then you slowly start to straighten the arms any amount. And you'll start to feel the stretch on this back of the arm, the back of the wrist, right around here. Okay. And finally release. And let's just sit back and circle the wrists around a few times. Okay, so moving right along, we're going to go back to our tabletop and back to our cow and cat. Let's just do one. Inhale for cow, exhale for cat. Come back to neutral spine and reach your right leg back. Just stretching through the heel at first, opening up the back of the leg, and then lift that leg up and point the toes. Add the left arm reaching forward. Engage the core to balance. From here on your inhalation, you're going to lift the right leg and the left arm. A little bit of a cow spine when that happens. And then exhale. Keep everything straight and just lower down, touching the floor, the fingertips and the toe tips. So it's just inhale up, exhale down. Spine staying long. Inhale and exhale. Keeping the core engaged to balance. If you need to, you can always do this with just the leg if the balance is a really big challenge. One more time, inhale up, exhale down, and come back to center. And you can rest back in child's pose for a couple breaths. Oreo might make an appearance here in a moment, we'll see. Now you're going to stretch your left leg back. I'll come back up to table, stretch your left leg back. Just stretching out the back of the leg at first, and then lift that leg up, pointing the toes. It's just parallel to the floor to start with, and the right arm reaches forward. Inhale and exhale. Inhale up, exhale. Oh yeah, touching all the way down. Inhale and exhale. And of course, you can use just the leg if you need this hand for balance. 2 more times. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And come back to table and back to child's pose one more time. So, Surya Mamaskar or sun salutation is a lot of back and forth movement, going from forward bend to back bend, forward bend, back bend, forward bend, back bend. So that's why it's a really vigorous warm-up kind of exercise. That's why you're supposed to do it in the morning, right? So the version that we're going to do is going to have all those elements. It's just taking away a few of the things that can be super challenging. There's nothing wrong with things that are challenging. We need to be challenged in order to grow, but we don't want them to be so challenging that it becomes frustrating and makes us want to quit, or makes us have negative thoughts about ourselves, or makes us angry, or makes us feel inadequate. So that's my hope for today. Of course, like I said before, if you know your sun salutation really well already, you can do any version you like. And there are many, many versions out there, okay? Almost every teacher has their own little things that they emphasize more than others, or stylistic differences. I like to have those differences, for a particular reason. That's why I might actually teach a different sun salutation in different classes for, whatever reason, depending on who is in the class or, what have you. So we're going to come back up to tabletop, and make sure you have enough space in front of you. From here, we're just going to come to our puppy pose to start with. So just reaching those hands forward, hips staying back, upper body coming down in line with your arms. And then coming forward, plant the forearms down, bending at the elbows. Coming forward, shoulders over elbows. Stretch one leg straight back and the other leg straight back for your forearm plank. Let's hold this for a couple breaths, lengthening through the spine, and then slowly with control, lowering everything down to the floor, ending up in your Sphinx pose. We'll do just one sequence on the floor here, from Sphinx to Cobra to Locust. So each of those poses is a prone back, lifting up away from the floor. That will be when you inhale, and when you exhale, a little bit of a release down towards the floor, but we're never going to come all the way down to the floor for this short sequence. So you can do it with me. Inhale, Sphinx. Exhale, release, drag the fingers back all the way to your lower ribs. And then inhale, neck long, cobra, just a baby cobra if you want. And then exhale, release. Straighten the arms back alongside your body. Inhale, locust. Now the legs also lift up off the floor. Keep everything up as you exhale, reaching the arms forward, palms down. Inhale back to your Sphinx pose. Now we're going to go back to locust and do a couple variations on locust there. So we'll just go straight towards locust. So just swing the arms all the way back and inhale back to your locust. Stay up. Exhale the arms forward, and this time come down all the way, resting the forehead down on the floor, and the arms are still out in front of you. I'm going to do a little bit more of that opposite limb lifting. So your right leg and your left arm reach up as the other two limbs press down. See how maybe pressing down helps you lift up higher than you normally otherwise could. And the head can come up too. And then exhale down. And then right arm, left leg, inhale and exhale. Just go back and forth a couple times. Inhaling, exhaling, alternating sides. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. And then swing the elbows out, hands in, fold the hands on top of each other, and rest down for a few breaths. And from here, turn on my do not disturb. We're gonna come back up to Sphinx for a moment, and we'll do a couple things on your right side. So your left forearm is gonna stay to prop you up. Reach back, bending the right knee. See if you can reach back with your right hand and grab onto that foot or the front of the ankle, anywhere around that area. First, we're just stretching out the quad, so turn towards the floor and just try to pull that heel down any amount, keeping the thighs next to each other. Okay, so the right knee is not angling out to the side at all. And you're just pulling it down. And then we're going to try half bow. So your left arm might want to reach forward and see if you can press down as you kick that right foot back away from you. If it's hard to balance, you can do it with your forearm here. So you're just trying to lift the right thigh up off the floor and kick the foot back away from you any amount. Good. One more breath, and then release that leg and let the foot come back down to the floor. And then we'll do the other side. So your right forearm angles across in front of you, bend the left foot, the left knee, reach back for that foot. And at first, keeping the legs close together, you're just pulling that heel down any amount. Trying to face towards the floor as much as possible, not rolling up over to the side. Good. And then you're going to try to do the opposite. So the foot is kicking away, lifting the thigh up off the floor. See if the top of the thigh can detach from the floor. And this one can reach forward, unless it's hard to balance, and then you can do a little angle with the forearm. Good. And then release everything Fold the hands on top of each other and rest down. From here, we're going to push all the way up and back to child's pose, resting again a couple breaths. And then coming forward, come onto your hands and knees once again in your tabletop. Come towards the front of your space so you have more space behind you. You're going to come to your high plank, one leg back, other leg back, and finally to your downward facing dog. And pedaling out the feet a few times. And then start to walk the feet forward towards your hands. Once the feet are solidly underneath you, brush off the dog hair and come to your soft forward fold. So the knees are bent, the feet are apart, holding opposite elbows, shake out the head, yes and no. Switch the fold of the arms. And then bend the knees even more. Lift the head so the head's in line with the spine. Placing the hands on the legs above the knees. We're going to push ourselves up to stand. So from here, we're going to go into our Surya Mamaskar. So just a couple notes about that. We're going to do two parts. So it's almost a little like Sun A and Sun B. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. Just know that it's two parts. The first part is a little more basic, just moving back and forth like I mentioned before. And then the second part will add a couple more standing poses. That being said, I do kind of mix it up a little bit, and I take a couple things from what's usually in the second part and put it in the first part, just because I like them. So you're going to stand up nice and tall. Start with the legs close together because we're going to use Utkatasana, chair pose, from the get-go. So it's best if you have the legs close together so the inner legs can be touching somewhat. So from here, in your Tadasana, inhale the arms up. And then exhale, keep the arms up and come to Utkatasana. You're going to stay here a few breaths. On your inhale, reach the arms away. Like you're reaching those fingertips up even more. On your exhale, sink the tailbone down a little bit. So it's a long, straight spine. You're not arching the back or sticking the tailbone out. So the tailbone is angled down towards the floor behind you, maybe 45 degrees, something like that. And then exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale, reaching really long. Keep the spine straight as we bend the knees even more. And exhale down to touch the floor. On your inhalation, straighten the legs a little bit more. Come to your half forward fold, touching the fronts of the shins. Spine is still nice and straight and long. And then exhale, fold again, bending the knees. Inhale, step the right foot back to a long, low lunge position. And exhale, drop the knee to the floor. We're going to do a mini crescent, which means we're keeping the fingertips here on the floor, just trying to come to a crescent. Inhaling, and then exhale, plant the hands, and step back to plank. We're going to hold plank now a few breaths. Inhale, exhale. Long body position from the top of the head through the heels. Maybe inhale, reach the head a little further forward, and exhale, reach the heels further back. One more breath, inhale, and exhale. Your inhale is going to take you back and up to your downward facing dog. Let's stay here for a few breaths now. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale forward to plank, and exhale, drop the knees right where they are. They're going to be further back than you normally have for table. Don't worry about it. We're going to do a cow spine here, even though the knees are further back, don't worry. And exhale, cat. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend both knees slightly and walk the feet forward towards your hands. You can take big steps or you can take little steps. When your feet are all the way forward, straighten the knees any amount. Inhale, forward, half forward fold. And exhale. This time we're going to do a regular Uttanasana. Try to keep the knees straight as you fold forward. You can use your blocks here if you need on your hands. Taking a couple breaths there. Inhale, start to bend the knees. Lift the head, spine is long and straight. You can either press into the legs here or bring the arms up towards Utkatasana. Inhale, exhale back to Tadasana. So that was one side. So inhale, the arms up. Exhale, sit back, Utkatasana. Inhale, arms reaching. Exhale, tailbone lowering. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last time, inhale the arms and then exhale. Keep the knees bent and bring the fingertips down. Inhale, straighten the legs any amount, half forward fold, and exhale, bend the knees again. Inhale, step the left foot back, and exhale, drop the knee down. Just a mini crescent. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, plant the hands and step to your plank position. Long body position, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, reach the crown of the head away. Exhale, reach the heels back. Inhale, exhale, and this time on your inhalation, go up and back to your downward facing dog. Inhaling for a few breaths here. Sometimes I say a number of breaths. I think it's better to say a few because people breathe differently. It gives you a little bit more say, but it should be a long, slow breath. Obviously not a quick panting breath, right? Exhale, inhale to plank. Exhale, drop the knees just wherever they land. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Bend the knees. Take as many breaths as you need to walk the feet forward. Once again, when your feet are all the way forward, straighten the legs. Inhale up, half forward fold, and then exhale, forward fold. Keeping the legs as straight as you can. You can always bend them if you need. Inhale, exhale, start to sit back, bending the knees. Inhale, reach the arms forward. You can have them on your legs for support. And exhale, stand all the way up. So that was 2 sides of Surya Mamaskar. We're going to go through it again, one side and then the other side, not holding the breath so long. So it'll be moving faster and it won't take so long. After that, we'll do 2 more sides with sort of a sun B or some standing poses added in. But it'll start off the same way. First, we're just doing what we just did, just not holding any poses that long. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Utkatasana. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fingertips to the floor. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Exhale, bend the knees, hands down again. Inhale, step the right foot back. Exhale, drop that knee. Inhale, mini crescent. Exhale, plank. Inhale in your plank. And exhale. We're holding that just one breath. Inhale back to downward facing dog. Exhale. And inhale to plank again. Exhale, drop the knees. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. And walk the feet forward. If you want to take one big step and then another big step, you can do that, or you can keep taking the smaller steps. When your feet are forward, inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sit back. Maybe raise the arms. And exhale to Tadasana. Gotta have myself. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Utkatasana. Inhale, reach the arms long. And exhale, fingertips touch the floor. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, bend the knees again. Inhale, step the left foot back. Exhale, knee to the floor. Inhale, mini crescent. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale, plank. Exhale, drop the knees to the floor. I'm going to give you one option if you want to do upward facing dog instead of your cow. If you're going to do your cow, you stay here and you do your cow and your cat. You want to try upward facing dog. You're going to slowly start to lower the pelvis forward. So you're going to be lifting the sternum up, and you're going to flip the feet so you're on the tops of your feet, reach the legs back, and come to upward facing dog by strongly pressing the legs down. And then return, dropping the knees, tuck the toes, and go back to your downward facing dog. Bend the knees and walk the feet forward. Feet are in front. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Take a couple breaths. You can bring your hands to prayer, close your eyes. Just take a couple breaths, and then we'll finish with two more sides, one complete round in our sun bee variation. So it's sort of a second part using a few more standing poses. From here, inhale the arms up. Exhale, Utkatasana. Inhale, reach the arms long. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, straighten the legs, half forward fold. Exhale, bend the knees, hands down. Inhale the right foot all the way back. Keep the hands down for a moment. You're going to swivel that right heel in and down, setting up for warrior two. So right away for warrior two, you can start off thinking turning the chest to the side, pushing into that front leg to come all the way up to your warrior two. It's a lot of sun glare today. It's a very bright day outside. So a little hard for me to look straight ahead. So bright. So I'm squinting, that's why. So for a moment in your warrior two, you're going to check. Your front knee is angled, it is straight forward, tracking over that front foot. The back foot is angled 45 degrees or so forward. Upper body's upright. For a moment, you're going to take your front hand to the inner knee, your back hand to the back hip here, and just applying a little bit of pressure. Okay, it's not to change the structural position that you're in. It's more just to see, are these muscles, the inner thigh, inner groin muscles open as much as they can be reasonably right now? That might help you turn the torso to the right side a little bit more. Just a breath or two there. And then inhale, straighten the front leg, reach back, reverse triangle. And exhale, come up. I'm going to do a regular triangle pose. So you might have to shorten the pose a tiny bit, hopping that back foot in, maybe just an inch, maybe 2 inches. It's a slightly shorter stance than warrior two. So 1 leg length between your feet. Reach the arms out. And then most important thing in triangle is to move from the pelvis, okay? The most important thing is not putting your hand down. Your hand doesn't have to touch anything. And you're also not doing this, okay? This is what happens a lot in triangle. I'm gonna reach more with this hand. So you're actually just shifting the ribs away from the alignment with the pelvis. We want to have the pelvis and the ribs lined up, which means that when the pelvis moves, the ribs move, but staying in line. So let's try it that way. Coming down, maybe the front arm just comes to parallel to this front leg. You can go a little bit more, you can go a little bit more, but you're never trying to reach anything. If you really need to have that feeling of putting your hand down on something, whether it's your leg or something else, you can build a little stack of blocks, make it nice and high so you're not trying to get anywhere. Trying to get anywhere in yoga usually gets us on the wrong path. So just testing out, can you keep the spine straight as you tilt forward? Come back up and exhale back to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, cartwheel the hands down either side of the front foot. Swivel onto that back heel and step the front foot back to plank. Inhale, reaching long from the crown of the head through the heels. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale back to plank. Exhale, drop the knees. Here you can either do your cow, cat, or if you want to try your upward facing dog, bring the pelvis forward. So for cow, the pelvis stays backward. You want to drop it forward, but controlling it, not just plopping it down. Flip the feet and press strongly down with those legs to lift up into your upward facing dog. And then drop the knees, tuck the toes, go back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees and walk the feet forward. Coming forward, inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold down again. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Last round, I'm going to switch to this angle. Maybe this will be better. Okay. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Utkatasana. Inhale, reaching long from the tailbone through the hands, and exhale, hands touch the floor. Straighten the legs any amount. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, bend the knees again. Inhale, step that left foot back and plant the foot down for your warrior two. Starting now to turn towards your left, push into that front foot, and come up to your warrior two. Again, you're going to take the front hand, palm to the inside, fingers just holding the knee back. You're not trying to push the knee back over or anything. You're just holding it there. And this back hand is just pulling a little bit back there, opening up those tissues. And then bring the arms up to your full warrior two. Take a moment looking over the front hand. And then straighten the front leg. Inhale, reverse triangle. And exhale, bring the arms to a T for your regular triangle. Bring my back foot in a tad. It's possible to do with the foot back there. I like to bring it in a little bit. It's up to you. So again, we're going to try to tip forward from the pelvis. So this hip crease is moving in. This hip is starting to stick out back behind because I'm keeping the pelvis moving. Sacrum is in line with the pelvis, the base of the spine. So the spine starts to go forward with the tilting of the pelvis. Front hand might go down to a block or your shin. And then inhale back up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, cartwheel the hands to the floor. Swivel onto the ball of the back foot. And step that back, step the front foot back, to your plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, knees down. Either inhale for your cow or your upward facing dog. And exhale, cat. And then finally, just go back to your downward facing dog from there. Bend the knees. You can walk forward, you can take big steps, little steps, or if you want to, you can even take little jumps forward, or a combination. When the feet are forward, inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. Let's stay in our forward fold for a moment. Try to bring the feet, bring the weight a little bit forward on the feet so that it's not just going into your heel, using your whole foot for support. Your hands are not easily touching the floor. You just grab your blocks or even the seat of a chair, something like that. You can hold on to your ankles. You can hold on, holding yourself in there, or you can hold on to the big toes. You can hold on there. You're going to bend the elbows out to the side. Pulling the upper body down, in and out, keeping the head in line with the spine. In other words, you're not tucking the head in to go further because you're not really making you go forward any further. Good. Bend the knees. Inhale up, Utkatasana. And finally, all the way back up to Tadasana to complete the cycle. So, bravo, brava. We did a whole bunch of sun salutation. So now as your reward, you get to come down to the floor. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you can incorporate that into your own practice. If you have any questions, you can always ask me later or send me a comment, anything like that. Just sit off to the side and swing the legs around in front. And jiggle out those legs a little bit. Sitting up nice and tall. Maybe you can push into the floor either side of the hips for a moment to check. Roll the shoulders down and back. Chest is moderately lifted. It's not puffing forward like you're in the military or anything. It's just nice and lifted. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, fold forward, reaching for the feet. We just did this, right? Different orientation to gravity now. Maybe you have to pull a little bit more to feel like you're getting anywhere. Not that there's anywhere to get. I already said that, right? And then same thing, if you can reach the toes, you can hold on there. Push the toes forward. Don't let the toes come back towards you if you're doing that. And then elbows out to the side. And then release and come back. Sit, bend your right knee, hug the knee in. Just gonna do a couple twists. That's the one thing that's not really in most sun salutations, twisting. Or in really most sun salutations don't have the side poses that we actually put in, like a warrior two and triangle. So I'm gonna twist around towards the right. The bottom leg can stay straight. Or if you like to bend it in, you can always do that as well, as long as you can still sit up straight and not fall over to the side. Same twist either way, twisting around to your right. The back arm is there to support you, not leaning back on it, and keeping it kind of soft because it might need to move a little bit as you go into your twist. And then inhale, release a little bit to the other side and drop the head. Straighten the legs out. Jiggle out the legs again. And then same thing with the left knee, hugging it in. crossing it over. Bottom leg can stay straight or not. And then twisting around to your left. And release, facing forward. Actually dipping the head to the other side briefly. And then coming forward again. Unwrap those legs. Knees bent. Start to lean back a little bit, holding on behind the knees. We took class last week. We're going to revisit Navasana a little bit, not as extensively as we did last week, but just a little bit. So lean back enough so the feet become very light on the floor, and maybe you can even lift them off the floor. At the same time, keeping that chest lifted, spine long, and just balance. And then from here, it's your choice how far you want to take the Navasana. So that means you can either stay here or you can release the arms. You can stay like this, or you can try to straighten the legs. Staying on the sitting bones as much as possible. Head in line with the spine, which means the head is going back, right? Bend the knees and grab on and come forward again. So the head weighs a lot. So one tendency, people do it without even realizing it, so they're in Navasana, but their head is forward, which makes sense because the head, you want the weight of the head to be more centered, so it's not as much work on the core. Let's try one more time, keeping the head in line with the spine. So you have to do it from the beginning. Think of now, my head has to be back there. Feet up, release the hands, and maybe straighten the legs. Maybe 3 breaths or so, and then grab the knees and come forward one more time. Hug the knees in towards you, wrapping the arms around as much as you can, and drop the head down towards your knees. Good, and then finally, come to lie down on the back one more time. We'll finish with a couple hip openers and bridge. So first, you're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee. At first, make sure you're keeping this foot flexed. The top foot is flexed. At first, you're just pushing away. So first, push away the inner knee and the ankle. You can touch there. You don't really have to push. It's not going anywhere. It's against the knee. Take a couple breaths. And then you're going to bring your hands down just to the tops of the thighs. Okay, so this top leg is turned out a little bit. So it's, slightly different area, but both sides you're going to be pushing away a little bit there. Just checking in, are the sides of the body staying equally long? One tendency is that we shorten one side when we do anything asymmetrical, right? So we're going to check in. The sides of the trunk are equally long. And now, finally, come to our complete figure 4 stretch. So the bottom foot comes up off the floor, and you hug around the upper leg of that. The leg that's farther away, okay, your left leg. You can hold on there or reach all the way around to the shin. And checking in again, just from internally, just checking in. Are the sides of the body equally long, or are you kind of shortening up on the side of the lifted leg? Probably not the other side, but it's possible, I guess. And just hugging it in. And then release, slowly switch sides. So left ankle on top of the right knee. At first, once again, just pushing away, but gently. You don't want to force it away. Just maybe encouraging it away a little bit. And then from the tops of the thighs, pushing away. And then finally, complete your figure 4 stretch, lifting the bottom foot up and holding around the thigh or the shin. And taking some nice slow breaths. Then release. Get both feet onto the floor. Have your legs parallel to each other, feet parallel, and walk the feet in towards you any amount. Arms down, palms facing down, and lift up into your bridge. And on an exhalation, lower back down. We're going to do one more bridge. It's your choice if you want to do a more active bridge like we just did. Maybe walk the feet in even closer. Or if you would like to do supported bridge, you're going to grab a block. If you don't have a block, you can use a really thick folded blanket or a thick cushion. You're going to lift up and slide that block or any prop underneath the sacrum. And then you're resting down. You can just enjoy being in a slight extension, spinal extension, or slight back bend without having to work. And then your choice if you want to stay like this or straighten the legs out. If you do, push the feet away lightly like you're standing up. Okay, so you're not just flopping the legs out there. You're in a little bit of a stand. If you're running into the plant again, so adjust your feet so you're not hurting the plants. And taking a couple breaths, letting the front of the body open up in a supported way. If at any time that is not comfortable on the lower back, you can always just bend the knees again and stay in a supported bridge like this. A few more breaths. If your legs are straightened out, walk them back in, getting the feet in close to you so you can lift up and bring that block out from underneath you. And then we'll finish with a couple twists. So first, just cross one leg on top of the other. Whichever side. You're going to take the legs over to the side of the bottom leg, whichever leg is farther away. You're going to go to that side. Just bring the arms out, any comfortable position away from the body. And if it's okay for your neck, you can look away from the direction of your legs. And slowly come back onto your back and recross your legs. And then we'll go to the other side. Again, turning the head away from the legs if that feels okay. Otherwise, just keeping the gaze straight up towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, just rolling onto the back one more time. And here you can just start to set up for your Shavasana, your final relaxation. Any comfortable position really is acceptable, of course, for your final relaxation. If possible, you're going to straighten the legs out on the floor, letting the feet roll open. Angle the arms away from you, from your sides, turning the palms up. And start with a few centering breaths. Inhaling softly through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. It's very bright, so I have to move a little to the side. Continuing your centering breath a few more times. And then go back to breathing in and out through the nose. Otherwise, keeping the breath very soft and natural. And letting go of any unnecessary effort. Letting the floor support you, letting the floor do the work for a change so you can completely rest and relax. Letting the eyeballs drop back in the eye sockets. Letting the tongue drop back to the back of the mouth. Let the brain drop away from the face, so the brain is going to the back of the skull. And notice if that changes your breath at all. Check for any other tension in the body, any places that you're holding on at all. See if you can let go any amount. Please stay in Shavasana for as long as you like. I will sign off in a few more moments. Thank you so much for joining me. Please leave me any comments on YouTube, and hopefully I will see you again soon I will be saving the video so you can always come back to it later. And hopefully next week, I will get onto my live stream in a timely fashion. Thank you so much for putting up with my technical issues, and be well. Namaste.